I do really kind of hate this culture of like Autism Speaks and like all this other stuff where they treat autism like a disability, like Downs or whatever, you know, like name it. And like I do kind of see like, sure, there are differences and like there are things that make being autistic, you know, difficult. But like I don't know, like me myself personally, like when I go to a job, like I don't tell them I'm autistic unless like something happens where I'm like, I literally can't do this. Like if they like want me to do like some team lead thing or something, I'm like, nah, I can't. But like, you know, I don't. Do
you think that's because of autism, or do you think that's because of personality?
Probably both. I'm definitely willing to not. I like, and that's kind of another thing too, right? Is like I think a lot of people, there's over attribution to autism. Like people will be autistic and they'll be like, oh, well, everything that is happening is because of my autism. And like I was in that trap for a while. Like it's a very like. It's a very common way of thinking. I get it, but I urge anybody with autism to just try to break out of that. Yeah. Like just try to like just, you know, deal with it as it comes. You don't need to put a shirt on you don't need to put a shirt on that says like I'm autistic. Like just I
think there is like autism awareness. That's a little far, right? Yeah. But to be like, oh, this guy did this and he's autistic. I can see that, hearing from somebody who's actually labeled as it, to be able to speak that and see where it could affect that side. But in a long range, I think it could do the same thing as like we were talking about with like the gay effect. Sure, it's like, well, gay is it's so around and it's so everywhere now that it's like, yeah, that happens. Like this is normal. So then maybe, because you know, you don't want it to be like, and I get that, you don't want it to be like how would it feel if somebody was like, oh, you jumped really high in that contest. You're black. That's why.
Well, and I was just thinking this, like, this is kind of getting into controversial waters, but like, as we do usually on the show.
Yeah.
But you know, I think there is kind of something to be said for that, right? Like, I think the more people like group think and group identify, like, oh, I'm this and this and this and this, it actually ends up separating people, and actually it makes us forget that we're all human. Like I truly believe that, like on a large scale sense. Like I think anytime somebody is like LGBTQ, black, Hispanic, Latinx, whatever, like I don't have a problem with it, but you're playing into the whole idea of it. You're playing into the whole equity idea. And then the dangerous part comes is when you have government come in and be like, okay, we're going to select this group of people, and then we're
getting political.
That's what I was saying, dude. Communism. That's
Don't you bring that fucking communism over here, dude? I swear to fucking God.
It's radical. I get it. A lot of people disagree with me, but I do believe like
I get what you're saying.
The classification of like even something like autism or whatever, I think that kind of leads to that on social scale. Like you see that in you know, like Soviet Union's like a really good example of that, like the classifications of people and like how that attributed to it. I haven't read the book in a while, but I can't give you a specific.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm more on the side of, because like I hate it personally when people tell me that all races are the same, all people are the same. I'm like, no,
that's not true.
We're not. Like, in a broad sense, without naming anything specific, black people, like dark-skinned black people, compared to mixed people like me with a black father, white mother, black mother, white father.
Sure.
In a broad scale, have a lot of things about them that are different.
Sure.
This group of people tends to act a lot of the same. This group of people tends to act a lot of the same. White people is a little bit more broad, because there's like white Europeans and then stretched out. So you know what I'm saying? There's like American white, and then there's you got different types of people. You got different classes. Like I mean,
sure.
I've worked on kitchen lines with groups of Mexican guys that actually are like true Chicanos. They came here from fucking Mexico, and now they're American citizens, and they've been here for fucking years. But like first language Spanish, like they go back home every now and then, all that shit. And they're just different. They're not the same as me. They don't do the same things. They don't talk the same. They're like, oh, well, we don't act like that because we're like this. And I'm like, well, I do act like that because I'm this. You know what I mean? And like, I think it's important for us to all realize that be able to accept it. And like, we're all still human. That's not saying that we're all not still human. We are the same, but we're also not.
We have different experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's completely valid. Like, I think, and like, when you look at, like, I guess that's kind of my point too, right? It's like, it's a case by case instance, right? Like, you take any person with any type of background and compare it to any other person with any type of background. Like, there's no equation to, like, their skin color, their religion, their sexual identity, orientation. Like, there's nothing singular, multiple of that you can just automatically be like, okay, this person is blah 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 blah. Yeah. I truly believe what the true separator of people is class. And I think a big part of the reason why we have so much hyper awareness around this kind of stuff is because the government wants to distract the people from money, from the crazy separation between the upper and lower class. That gap has been widening. As for decades and decades, why we hear about all these social issues, why people get so riled up by these social issues, as important as they are completely ignoring the thing that's really separating people, which is the class divide. And like, that's the thing that like pisses me off about it. It's like, and it's sad because there are a lot of people behind these movements that like I truly believe are good people. They truly deep down think that this is the way and that they really want to do it. And I sympathize with that, but it's just wrong. It's just illogical thinking. Like, I'll argue that forever, man.